Hello everyone, this is Dr. Himraj. So here I am going to discuss about that nasal polyposis. Now nasal polyposis is a pedunculated mass or prolapse of mucosa in the nasal cavity. So it is defined as a simple idiomatous non-neoplastic hypertrophied mucosa of the paranasal sinuses and the nasal cavity. There are two types of nasal polyps. First is a ethmoidal polyp, second is a enteroconal polyp. They can also be a presenting feature of fungal sinusitis and sinonasal malignancies. So in this picture, you can make out that this is a pedunculated mass inside the nasal cavity which is arising from the maxillary sinus or maxillary antrum. So here you can see ethmoidal polyp which is arising outside the maxillary sinus. So what is the pathogenesis behind that nasal polyposis? There are three main factors involved. First is a mucosal reaction at the cellular level. Second is a relatively poor blood supply to the ethmoidal air cell system. And third is a complex anatomy of osteomeatal complex. So these three main factors which can lead to or which can cause nasal polyposis. So there are different theories behind that pathogenesis of nasal polyposis. So commonly accepted theory is a Bernoulli's phenomena. Then second is a vascular permeability. Third is a infection. Fourth is a allergy. And fifth is a idiopathic. So what do you mean by Bernoulli's phenomenon? Bernoulli's theory postulates that when gases or fluids pass through a constricted area, a negative pressure may develop in the vicinity of the constriction. The lowered pressure leads to increased formation of tissue fluid and subsequent polyp formation. So in this picture, you can see this in constricted area, there will be a negative pressure with a high velocity which can cause formation of or increased formation of tissue fluid and subsequent polyp formation. Now what do you mean by vasomotor imbalance? This is implied because of majority of cases are not atopic and no obvious allergens can be found. The vasomotor imbalance theory postulates that increased vascular permeability and impaired vascular regulation that can cause detoxification of mast cells products, that is a histamine. The prolonged effect of these products within the polyp stroma results in a marked edema that is worsened by venous drainage obstruction. Third is a infection. The causative organisms are H. influenza, parainfluenza, Moraxella catarrhalis. These inflammatory changes can cause nasal polyposis. Fourth is allergy. This has been implicated because of three factors. Histological pictures where histological picture of this nasal polyps where 90% or more of nasal polyps have an eosinophilia. It is associated with the asthma. Finally, the nasal findings which may mimic allergic symptoms and signs. Nasal polyps are a soft, painless, non-cancerous growth on the lining of nasal passages or sinuses. They hang down like a teardrops or grapes. They result from chronic inflammation and are associated with the asthma, recurring infection, allergies, drug sensitivity, or certain immune disorders. Small nasal polyps may not cause symptoms. Larger growths or groups of nasal polyps can block your nasal passages or lead to a breathing problem, loss of sensation of smell, frequent infections, Nasal polyps can affect anyone, but they are more common in adults. Medications can often shrink or eliminate the nasal polyps, but surgery is sometimes needed to remove them. Even after successful treatment, nasal polyps often return. Now, what are the clinical features of nasal polyposis? So, first we will discuss what are the symptoms. Symptoms like a nasal obstruction, that is a nasal blockage, sneezing or rhinorrhea, partial loss of sensation of smell, that is a hyposmia or anosmia, or alteration in a taste or common complaints. Hawking, dry cough may be present due to post-nasal discharge. Although not frequent, pain does occur in a patient with a polyps and is usually over the bridge of nose, forehead, and cheeks. Epistaxis is infrequent. It occurs when squamous metaplasia takes place over the nasal polyp or if that nasal polyp is get infected. So common features are clinical features symptoms are nasal blockage, rhinorrhea, post-nasal discharge, dry hacking cough, and epistaxis. Now signs. Patients have a distinctive hyponasal voice, mouth breathing, and on anterior rhinoscopy, you can visualize a grayish, pale, glistening polypoidal mass. It is insensitive and does not bleed on touch. It is a soft and mobile and can be probed all around except laterally. Pale gray color is due to poor blood supply, but in the presence of repeated trauma and inflammation, they may become reddened. The insensitivity is due to poor nerve supply. On posterior anoscopy, you can see a smooth grayish polypoidal mass occupying the choana. So this is can be seen in a antrochoanal polyp, but not in a ethmoidal polyp. A severe eosinophilia may change the color of mucus from the white to yellow, greenish yellow. So this is called as a allergic pus. Now, what are the differential diagnoses for this nasal polyposis? These are like a hypertrophic inferior turbinates, juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibromas, meningocele, rhinosporidiosis, inverted papilloma, granulomatous diseases, or malignant tumors in the nose. So here you can see a smooth, shiny, pedunculated mass inside the nasal cavity. So this is the nasal polyp. Now there are, as we earlier discussed, that polyp is of two types. First is antrochoanal polyp and second is a ethmoidal polyp. So now what are the features, how to differentiate between the antrochoanal polyp and ethmoidal polyp? So antrochoanal polyp, it is commonly seen in children and adolescents. The main causative or the main pathophysiology behind that antrochoanal polyp is an infective pathology, and it arises from the maxillary antrum. Usually it is a single unilateral. It is having a three parts: antral part, choanal part, and nasal part. It extends backwards due to wide choana, gravity, air current, ciliary movement, and accessory ostium is more posteriorly placed. So post-operative recurrence is less common with antrochoanal polyp. Now, in ethmoidal polyps, it is common in a middle age and elderly male. The common pathology behind that ethmoidal polyp is a allergic pathology. It arises from the anterior, middle, and posterior group of ethmoids. Usually, it is a multiple grape-like structure and bilateral. It extends forwards, commonly 20 to 40% cases are seen with the ethmoidal polyps in cases of nasal polyposis. In long-standing cases, there may be an expansion or broadening of external nose known as a frog face deformity. So here in this picture, you can make out nasal polyposis. Now, how we are going to manage the case of nasal polyp? When that patient comes to you with the history of nasal blockage and on your findings or clinical features, you have come to the diagnosis that patient is having nasal polyposis. So here we are going to investigate the case and manage, give the treatment. We are going to give the treatment to the patient. So what are the investigation we want to do? That is a hematological investigation like a WBC count, HB, then absolute eosinophilic count, then blood sugar level, then serological tests like HIV, HBsAg, then X-ray paranasal sinuses. The X-ray what we take for paranasal sinuses named after Waters view, named as a Waters view. Then CT scan of paranasal sinuses, like in that CT scan we are going to take a coronal and axial cuts. Then diagnostic nasal endoscopy. So these are the investigation one by one. These are all the investigation we are going to do to confirm that patient is having nasal polyposis. So here in this X-ray or in this X-ray of Waters view, you you can see the maxillary sinus filled with a fluid or thickening of mucosa. This is air level. So in this CT scan, you can see a polypoidal mass occupying the left maxillary sinus with the left nasal cavity. So here you can make out occupying that left maxillary sinus with the left nasal cavity. Now we have come to the diagnosis that patient is with the all symptoms and signs and investigation. We have come to the diagnosis that patient is having nasal polyposis. The ultimate treatment for nasal polyposis is a functional endoscopic sinus surgery. But to to give symptomatic relief to the patient, we start with the medical line of management. So in medical line of management, we are going to give antihistaminics to reduce the secretion in the nasal cavity or in the nasal cavity and in the nasal cavity. Then topical steroidal nasal sprays to reduce the inflammation and reduce the size of nasal polyp. Then mucolytics to dissolve the mucus inside the sinuses and anti-inflammatory. So to reduce the inflammation, again to reduce the inflammation and size of nasal polyp. Now, what is the surgical treatment for antrochoidal polyp and ethmoidal polyp? Previously, we used to do with the Caldwell-Luck surgery to remove the antrochoidal polyp. Now, we have newer technique, that is a functional endoscopic sinus surgery. So through that surgery, we can remove the antrochoidal polyp. So recurrence with the antrochoidal polyp is less as compared to ethmoidal polyps. Surgical procedures for removal of ethmoidal polyp. First is internal ethmoidectomy, second is external ethmoidectomy, third is a transcendental ethmoidectomy. But the recurrence rate with the ethmoidal polyp with above procedures was more. That is why we have abandoned that procedures. Now we remove the ethmoidal polyps with assistance of functional endoscopic sinus surgery. The recurrence rate of ethmoidal polyp is very less with the functional endoscopic sinus surgery. But after this removal of polyp, uh, nasal polyp, we give a patients with steroidal therapy, that is a nasal steroidal therapy, and nasal douching so as to avoid the recurrence of polyp. Take home message. In most cases, etiology is unknown. Polyps are associated with asthma, aspirin sensitivity, cystic fibrosis. Symptomatic nasal polyps occur in 2% of patients. Osteometal complex is the most common site. Unilateral polyp should always be regarded with a suspicion of histopathological analysis needed to rule out malignancy. So in this lecture we have covered what is the definition of nasal polyps, what are the different theories behind the nasal polyposis, clinical features of nasal polyposis, management of nasal polyposis. So in next lecture we will cover what is the rhinitis. Thank you.